Evelyn The Advocate family, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome in. You found the right place. Today's episode is a little different. And honestly, it's one I've been looking forward to for a while. I'm sitting down with a woman who helped me take everything I lived through, everything I fought for, and everything I wanted, and everything I wanted other survivors to know, and turned it into this, my book, Evelyn the Advocate. My guest today is Melanie Davis, the founder of Triumph Press, and she is my publisher. She is the person who sat with my story, read every page of it, and said, this needs to exist in the world. And I want you to hear from her directly, because I think the way she talks about this work is going to mean something to you. Let's get into it. Melanie, thank you so much for being here. I have wanted to do this episode for a long time because I talk about this book constantly on this channel. And I think it is time my audience actually meets the woman behind the scenes. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us who you are and what Triumph Press is.
Thank you, Evelyn. I'm so happy to be here. And I just have to say, watching what you have built with this channel and with this book has been one of the most rewarding things I've gotten to witness as a publisher. So my name is Melanie Davis, and I'm the founder of Triumph Press. I started this company because I believe that some of the most important books being written today are not coming from big traditional publishing houses. They're coming from people like you, people who've lived something, who fought through something, and who have a responsibility to tell about it. I'm an independent publishing house. I work with authors from manuscript to finished book, editing, design, production, everything it takes to get a story from someone's lived experience onto a page that someone else can hold in their hands. And I choose my authors very carefully because honestly, I don't have a lot of time. I'm not a big publishing house. It's just me. And so I have to be kind of picky about who I work with. And I get a lot of great manuscripts. So when I saw yours, I knew this is definitely one of the books that I wanted to help publish.
I love that, Melanie. We believe in the work we put our name on. Can you say more about that? What does it mean to you personally to put the Triumph Press name on a book?
I'm glad you asked that. Actually, that's a great question. When you put your name on something, you're telling the world that you vouch for it, that you've read it, that you stood behind the author, and you believe this book deserves to be read. So for me, that is not a business decision. It's a values decision. Every book I publish is a book I could stand in front of an audience and say, this matters. I would not publish anything I could not say that about. Your book was never a question. From the first time I encountered your story, I knew we had a responsibility to be part of bringing it into the world.
I want the audience to understand how this relationship started because it was not a typical thing. I was not a best-selling author who publishers were chasing. I was a survivor with a story and a camera and a whole lot of determination. So tell them, how did we find each other? And what was it that made you say yes?
I came across your work. Really, it was through Marianne Petrie,
Yes.
who has a great podcast called Slam the Gavel. She is the one that introduced us. And what struck me immediately was not just the content of your book. Honestly, it was your courage. You're not performing for an audience. You're so genuine. You really are. And you are talking about real things that happened to you, real failures of the system, real moments where you had to make choices that most of us will never have to face. And you were doing it publicly, on camera, with your name on it. And honestly, you just have this energy and this vitality. I just love, you're very colorful. I just love being around you. You came to me with a book that you had already been writing, and you just needed to help polish it up and publish it. We got pictures in it. So it's really neat because you can actually see different pictures of you during the stages of your life as you went through these things. And you knew what you wanted to say and who you wanted to reach. And actually, that is rare. to be so focused. A lot of authors are still figuring out where their story belongs, haven't even written it yet. I do get hired to help ghostwrite books, but you did not need that. It was taken care of. We just needed to make it beautiful. So my job was just to honor the clarity and build the best possible book around it.
That is such a kind way to say it. I will tell you from my side of it, finding Melanie felt like finding someone who actually got it. Not just the publishing side, but the why behind the book. Can you tell people how you understood the why as you read through my story?
Yes. The why, as I understood it, was this. You had gone through something that millions of women have gone through, but you came out the other side with a level of understanding about what happened and why it happened that most women never get. So you understood the dynamics of narcissistic abuse. You understood how family court can be weaponized. You understood the specific ways the system fails survivors, not just in theory, but from lived experience. And you wanted to hand that understanding to the next woman before she needed it. I loved that. I am all about helping people find purpose in what they've been through and use it to serve others. That's the reason for the name Triumph Press. And so that you fit perfectly into what my mission is as a publisher. So your book is a triumph. It's not just a memoir. It's you reaching back and handing someone a map that you had to draw yourself alone the hard way. So when I read that, I thought every woman who has ever felt alone in a courtroom or in a relationship that she couldn't explain, or in a moment where she didn't understand what was being done to her, she needs this book. That's a large number of people. This book needed to exist.
Melanie, I'm going to be honest with you. Hearing you say that out loud still gets to me because writing it was one of the hardest things I have ever done. What would you say to people who are thinking about writing their own difficult story? What does it take?
Another great question that I love to answer. Well, it takes a willingness to go back into a place you would rather not go. And it takes the belief that going back is worth it because of who you will benefit from having gone there. You didn't write this book to relive the trauma. You wrote it so that someone else could skip some of it. And that is an act of extraordinary generosity. And it is what separates memoir that changes lives from a memoir that simply documents them. I hope that makes sense. And you achieved that. You really did. It's all about what does my reader need? It's not about what do I want to express. And, speaking from experience and working with people, sometimes when I'm helping authors who've had a lot of trauma, there's a tendency to want to dump it all, to just have it all witnessed. And I am frequently having to tell them, you don't need to put it all out there. That's not really useful to your readers. They're going through their own nightmares. They just need from you what will help them to learn the lesson. And you did that just organically. You had the ability to tell just enough. This is really important because people need to understand they're not going to be reading lots and lots of really difficult experiences. You've had difficult experiences, but it's your book is not a difficult read. It's actually a page turner because you give more wisdom and instruction than you tell hard stories. You just tell enough to give that to them. For anybody who's thinking about writing a book, I would say, go ahead and dump it all out. That can be very healing. I'm not trying to have you hold anything in, but just know that in the editing phase, it's better to then pull a bunch of out and drill down to what the readers really need. But you were a pleasure to work with because I didn't have to do that at all with you. I didn't even have to say that to you. And I have to say it a lot when I work with people. And that's okay. I consider myself a book doula. They're birthing something and it's painful. And it's going to live. It's going to serve the world. You really are serving people and helping them understand the light that they're going to find in the morning. So it belongs to somebody who is still essentially in the middle of their night right now.
I want to pull the curtain back a little bit because I think a lot of people who watch this channel have a story in them and wonder what it would even take to put a book out. So let's talk about the real process. What does publishing a memoir actually involved from your side of it?
Well, most people think publishing is just someone typing up their story and clicking a button, especially with the advent of AI. You want to push the easy button, right? But it's actually so much more than that. A manuscript has to be edited, like I was just talking about, and not just for grammar, but for structure, for flow, for making sure the story lands the way the author intends it and the way that the readers need it. And so that's really a collaboration from start to finish. Then the book has to be designed inside and out. The cover is the first thing a stranger sees, and it has to stop them. I always say if a book would jump off the shelf visually, that's important. People really do judge a book by its cover. That's cliche, but there's a reason for that cliche. It's true. And I love your cover. You had this picture already, which was just like a gift to have that picture to work with, because you've got your purple for the color of domestic violence boxing gloves on, and you're looking up and the light's shining on you. And we were able to build on that in the design process, put more of the light, the little light bubbles coming down on you, like God was shining on you and you're in the midst of your fight. And just the visual says so much. So that's a good example of what I mean by an important design for the front cover. Traditional publishing companies take a very long time to release a book. I don't take that long, depends on if you've got it completely written or if you're in certain stages of it. But a traditional publisher can take up to 2 years. And one of the reasons why they take so long is they actually have multiple editors that have different skills. That is how important editing is. So for you to have used an editor before you came to me, that was a professionalism on your part and an understanding of what you needed. So I'm really glad that you did that. But every decision we made on your book about how it looked, getting the inside to match the outside, we've got little icons at the start of each chapter that looks like boxing gloves hanging on the string, and that picks up the boxing gloves on the cover. So these are the little details that go into publishing a really beautiful professional book. And I say I'm an independent publisher. I like to use the term indie publisher versus self-publishing. It's a kind of self-publishing in that I help you achieve what you're striving to do. You pay me, but I don't make any money. I don't profit off your book. I don't make you buy your books from me. There's a lot of publishers out there that kind of call themselves an indie publisher or hybrid publisher. And I think that their business approach is, I call it a scam, because I don't think anybody should pay to have their book published and then have to buy the book from the person that they paid. They don't get as good of deals. So my publishing structure is very unique. I don't know of many, if any, other publishers that work quite like I do from that standpoint. But anyway, so back to what does it take? There's production. So we have to format the book and we get ready and we upload it to Amazon. I'm a big fan of Amazon. I could dive into all that. I don't know if you want me to. Some people aren't, but I am. And there's a lot of good reasons to be. For one, Amazon covers more than 80% of the book sales market. You really have to be on Amazon if you want to sell a lot of books. And it's just a great place to be discovered. They have all kinds of wonderful author tools, something called Author Central, where if you publish multiple books, they're all found on your author page. I really love working with Amazon. And so that's what I help my clients to do.
And you handled all of that. I want to ask you something that I think viewers will appreciate. This is a book about domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, and family court. Those are heavy, personal, sometimes painful topics. Did that change how you approach the publishing process?
Absolutely. Yeah, when you're working with a book that documents real trauma, real abuse, real failure of systems that are supposed to protect someone, you carry that with you through the process. You don't treat it like a product. You treat it like a responsibility. For me, it meant making sure that every word we kept, every word we refined, honored your truth and served the reader who was going to come to this book in a vulnerable moment. So we were not editing for marketability. We were editing so that a woman in crisis could open your book at any page and feel like she was not alone. That is completely different editorial standard than most books are held to. I think you feel it when you read Evelyn The Advocate. There's no distance between the author and the reader. You are right there with them.
That means a lot to hear because I felt that through the whole process. You never let it become clinical. I want to ask you this. What do you wish people understood about independent publishing that they probably do not know?
Well, the biggest misconception is that independent publishing is a fallback for books that were not good enough for traditional publishing. That is completely backwards. Independent publishing is where the most important voices are coming from right now because traditional publishing is slow, risk adverse, and driven by what sold last year, whereas independent publishing can respond to what is happening right now. So, a memoir about surviving domestic violence and navigating a broken family court system, that is exactly the kind of book that a traditional publisher might have passed on because it didn't fit a neat commercial category. And it is exactly the book that thousands of women need on their nightstand. So, the quality of a book has nothing to do with who publishes it, but it has everything to do with the care that went into making it. Evelyn the Advocate is a well-made, thoughtfully produced book, and everyone who picks it up is going to feel that.
I want to spend some time on the book itself because you read it in a way that most people have not yet. You read it looking for what it could do, not just what it was. So please tell my audience, when you read Evelyn the Advocate, what did you see in it?
What I saw is a lifeline. I don't use that phrase lightly. This is not a book that you read for entertainment, although it is entertaining at times, but it's not why you pick it up or because you saw it on a bestseller list. This is a book you find when you need it, when something in your life does not make sense and you are trying to figure out what is being done to you and why. There are books about domestic violence. There are books about narcissistic abuse. There are books about family court. And I've published quite a few of them, but there are very few books that take all three of those things and puts them together and walks you through them from the inside, written by someone who survived all three simultaneously. That is what Evelyn the Advocate does. And here is what surprised me as a reader. Even knowing this story, it is practical. You don't just document what happened to you. You give your tools. You help people recognize patterns. You tell people what you wish you had done differently and what you would do exactly the same. And that transforms a memoir into a resource. And that is the thing that makes it different.
If someone is watching this right now and they're in the middle of something, maybe they don't even have a name for it yet, what would you say to them directly about whether this book is for them?
I would say to them, if you have ever felt confused in a relationship, not just hurt, but genuinely confused, like the reality you are experiencing is different from the one being presented to you, this book is for you. If you're currently in a family court situation and you feel like the system is not seeing you clearly, or that the person who hurt you is being protected by a process that was supposed to protect you, this book is for you. And if you have already gotten out, but you are still trying to understand what just happened and why, and you're trying to figure out how to rebuild your life with what you know, this book is absolutely for you. So, Evelyn, you don't soften the truth of what happened to you, and you make it more comfortable for the reader for doing that. You tell it the way it was because you know the woman who needs that book does not need comfort right then. She needs someone to say, I see exactly what's happening to you. Here is how I survived it.
Melanie, as a publisher, you see a lot of books. Where does this one sit for you personally, not professionally, but personally?
Personally, this is the kind of book I got into this work to publish. Not every book changes the way someone sees their own life. This one does. I have seen what happens when the right person finds Evelyn the Advocate at the right moment. It is not just, this is a good read, right? It's someone else has been exactly where I am, and she made it out, and she wrote down how. Books like this do not get finished and put on a shelf in my memory. It's right there on my shelf right there. Because every time I think about who still needs to find it, I think of how many women are sitting somewhere tonight trying to name what is happening to them. And I haven't been through what you have, but I've been through a narcissist's abuse. And so I do have some of my own experiences to know how authentic and accurate your book really is. So I'm proud to have published this book, and I'm proud to put the Triumph Press name on it. And I'm going to be telling people about it for a very long time.
Thank you so much, Melanie. I know my audience is full of women who are either going through something or who know someone that is. What would you say to someone who is watching this and thinking about whether to get it for themselves or for someone they love?
Well, I would start out by saying if you are wondering whether this book is about your life, it probably is. Narcissistic abuse and coercive control are not rare. They are undernamed and underdiscussed, but they are everywhere. So, your book, Evelyn the Advocate, gives language to experiences that many women have spent years trying to describe and not quite getting it right. So, I would say to those who are watching it, you're going to have to just read it for yourselves and you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. But if you have a friend, a sister, a daughter, a coworker who you suspect is in a situation she's not speaking about clearly, put this book in their hands. You do not have to say anything. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone is a book that says what you can't find the words to say yourself. And if you're completely okay right now and this does not feel like your story, read it anyway. Read it so you know how to recognize what Evelyn is describing. Read it so you can be the person who recognizes it in someone else. Evelyn the Advocate YouTube channel exists because the book is the foundation, but not the ceiling. And I really encouraged you. When we were in the publishing process, I said, Evelyn, you need a YouTube channel.
You did.
Yeah. By the same name as your book. You have to be out there talking to people about this. And with your personality and your delivery, I knew that it was going to be the perfect way for you to reach people. You know, the ones who've read your book, the ones who need to know about your book. So I knew that you had more to say than what fit into that book. And you've taught a lot on this channel already. And you've got a section called Power Minutes that you give quick, really important information about all the different topics relating to domestic violence and narcissism. And then you have a whole series that covers your memoir, your life, and your wisdom. So that's a great companion to the book as well. That's right here. It's a playlist on your channel. So you're constantly learning. I watch you. You're getting out there, taking courses, getting certificates and credentialed, and you're Dr. Evelyn now too. So you are a learner. You're not just sitting back on what you've already learned. You are continually working to see how you can be a more effective advocate. And I love that about you. So you're constantly updating your understanding of how all these systems work and how to navigate them. And so the channel, this YouTube channel, is where that continuing conversation really happens. So there's something specific that happens when you see Evelyn on camera talking about these issues. You believe her. I believe you when I listen to you. I just do. I know you know what you're talking about. Not because the writing isn't compelling, it is, but because there's no hiding it on video. You see someone who has been through something who came out steady and clear and purposeful on the other side. That matters to a survivor. So it's just good to watch you as well as to read from you. So I read the book for the depth and watch the channel for the ongoing support. So they're
Thank
built
you
for
so
each
much.
other.
Thank you, Melanie. What do you want people to do after they watch this episode?
Well, I want them to get the book today, not someday, not when they feel like they really need it, today. The women who need it most are the ones who are the least likely to reach for it on their own. So you could be the one who puts it in front of them. It's on Amazon. You can find it by searching Evelyn the Advocate. The link, I'm sure you'll put that in the description. And you have a website, evelyntheadvocate.org. And so that's another place they can go to link to where the book is available to learn more about you. And, there might be some people watching this that would like to have you come and speak in person. And I know that that's something you promote on your website as well. So a little plug for not just watching you on the channel, but maybe even getting to meet you in person.
We're going to start winding down, but I want to end by looking forward. Melanie, for you professionally, what does it mean to be a part of what is happening with this channel and this book? Where do you hope this goes?
I believe Evelyn the Advocate is going to become one of the most important survivor platforms in the country. And that is not hype. That is what I have watched being built episode by episode, conversation by conversation, reader by reader. I'm so honored and excited to be a part of what you're doing. I hope this book gets into libraries. I hope it gets recommended by domestic violence advocates and social workers and therapists. I hope it gets passed from one woman to another until it is worn out. I hope that you don't ever stop being the advocate and just pushing. And I know that it's a lot of work to get anything started, to publish a book, to start a channel, to do it simultaneously, to build an audience. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're up pushing 6,000 subscribers right as of right now. Someday somebody may watch this video and you're going to be up at 60,000 or 260,000. And I fully believe it'll get there. You're still with, not even reached your first year of being a channel yet. So you're doing amazing work. And I really do believe in what you're going to achieve. So I hope this channel keeps growing because your voice is exactly the kind of voice that survivors need to hear. You've been where they are. You got through it and you come back every episode and say, here's what I know and here's how I can help you. And you also have some really great people to interview. I've enjoyed meeting them in the process of being a part of the production. So
Thank you so much, Melanie. I just want to say something before I let you go. You believed in this before most people knew it existed. You treated my story with care when I was still figuring out how to tell it. You have been a partner in this, not just a publisher. What do you want to say to anyone out there who is working on their own story and wondering if it matters?
I would say to anyone out there who's been through anything that feels like they have a story to tell, and you will feel that way. You really will. And it's like you have to tell it to breathe. Would you agree? Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
can
I would
breathe
say
now.
you've got to tell it. If you feel like you have a story to tell, and you better tell it so you can breathe again and you can smile again.
Yes.
And don't wonder if your story is dramatic enough or different enough or if it has enough resolution to it yet. I mean, stories told right in the middle of it that walk through the ending as it's being written, those are great stories too. But wherever you are, if you have a story inside, it matters. It matters because you lived it and you are still here. And someone out there is living a version of it right now, whatever it is you've been through. I guarantee. And it doesn't even have to be somebody who's been through the exact same thing as you. Honestly, like I said, this, Evelyn, I haven't been through domestic violence and divorce. That's not in my life story, but I still get so much from you. Just knowing that someone can go through so much hardship and have courage and strength makes me feel like I can get through and have courage. And I have my own adversities. We all do. So sometimes you don't have to be sharing your story with this certain audience. You just need to show your courage or just show your fear if you're still in the fear state. But showing it and fighting is courageous.
It is. Melanie Davis, everyone, the founder of Triumph Press and the woman who helped bring Evelyn the Advocate into the world. Make sure you go and follow what Triumph Press is doing. The link is in the description. And listen, if you have been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that everything I do here comes back to one thing, making sure that no survivor has to figure this out alone. This book is part of that. The channel is part of that. And conversations like the one we've just had is part of that, where someone looks at your story and says it matters. It's real and it deserves to be heard. That is part of it too. Evelyn the Advocate is available right now on Amazon. The link is in the description, and it also is pinned in the comments. If you have already read it, thank you. If you haven't, today is a good day. If this episode spoke to you, please share it. You never know who is in your circle that is dealing with something they have not found words for yet. This might be the thing that helps them to find the words. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification bell so that you do not miss what's coming up next. And I will see you on the next episode. I am Evelyn the Advocate. I am Dr. Evelyn Hemphill, and I'm here for you.